Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm your host, John Campea, and this is the all-open discussion show. We're a bunch of friends standing around a virtual water cooler talking about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm really glad that you guys are here on the John Campea Show every afternoon. We have a little bit of time for live questions, but I know you guys love live questions, and I love taking live questions, so we do this show in the morning called Open Mic, 1 hour of nothing but live questions. And you know, I put up on my Twitter just a little while ago that, you know, to all of my friends around the world who recognize and celebrate all religious faiths and all national traditions, I want to wish all of you, my international friends, both a happy Rusev Day and a happy Avengers Infinity War premiere day. And, you know, Anne got me this toy. As I come over here for a second and I grab this bad boy. Anne got me this little toy here as I put it on. Some of you guys might have seen me playing with this on my social media channel the other day. Oh yes, my friends. Oh yes. Yeah, this bad boy right here. This bad boy right here. Oh my goodness. Yeah. This buddy, this is not going to be far from me for most of the day. So I'm just going to set that down there. So there are benefits to having a wife that works at Hasbro. That's one of the benefits. You know, when Ann came to me, said, John, I've got an opportunity to work at Hasbro. Should I leave my job and work at Hasbro? I'm like, okay, answer these questions for me. Do they still make the Marvel toys? Yes. Do they still make the Star Wars toys? Yes. Then why are we having this conversation? That's pretty much how our discussion went about whether or not Anne should go and take the job at Hasbro. And that's one of the fruits of the benefits. I love that damn thing. Okay, guys, sorry with all the stuff, but tonight is Avengers Infinity War premiere night. I can't believe it. The day is here. Tonight, I'm going to go watch Avengers Infinity War. Tonight. I am so stoked. So look, it's going to be a busy day around here on the John Campea YouTube channel. First of all, we got today, right now, it's open mic, right? We've got that going on right now. Then a little bit later, after open mic is done, I've got a special editorial video going up called The 5 Best Directors Without an Academy Award. We've been talking a lot around here about best actors today without an Academy Award. I've got a little video going up a little bit later today called The Best Directors Without an Academy Award. So it's going to be interesting to see what you guys think about my list when we do that. Of course, then this afternoon, we've got the John Campea Show. And then after that, I'm going to be getting ready to go to the premiere. Guys, make sure you're following my social media. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel. Keep an eye on my Twitter and Instagram and things like that, because I'm going to be taking lots of pictures, but also doing some live video streaming on the way down there. But also, Ann and I are going to go down early to the premiere, so we can walk around Hollywood Boulevard and show you guys the scene. Let you guys go there and experience it there with us. So I'm going to be taking lots of pictures, doing some live streaming, like little bits here and there, live streaming. So make sure you're following me on social media tonight for when we do all that stuff. Okay, with all of that out of the way here, let's go into your guys' discussion stuff, the live discussions. And we are going to start things off today with Bobby M. And Bobby M writes, Black Panther is now just $9 million from passing The Last Jedi worldwide. Do you think it will hit that number? Will it get a boost from Avengers? I don't know if it'll get a boost from Avengers. Avengers may just take all the MCU attention away from Black Panther. So I don't know if it'll get a boost from Avengers. Not to mention, everybody knows that in like a week and a half, Black Panther comes out on home video. So there's that as well. However, at just a little over $9 million away, it's got a legit shot. It does. It has a legit shot of catching Star Wars The Last Jedi. Which, I mean, look, this just highlights the ridiculous success of Black Panther. Like if you had told, look, let's step back. If you had told anybody a year ago that Black Panther would make as much, let's say it doesn't even pass The Last Jedi, it virtually made as much as The Last Jedi. people would have said you were crazy. If you go back a little over a year ago and tell people, you know how that Justice League movie's coming out? Black Panther is going to make twice as much. More than double the amount of people are going to go see Black Panther than go see Justice League. We would have said you were nuts. You said, hey, Black Panther's going to make as much, maybe just a hair under, maybe just a hair over, as much as Star Wars: Last Jedi. We would have said you were nuts. It just once again highlights, as far as its actual chances of catching Last Jedi, I think it's a coin toss at this point. I mean, the legs on this thing have been fantastic. And it really is a coin toss now. It will be interesting to see if it can just crawl over that finish line, that Last Jedi finish line at this point, with all the attention now being given to the Avengers. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I think it's a legit coin toss. I really do. I think it's got a very, very solid chance that it could ultimately do it, which is just, again, another example of the crazy success of Black Panther. All right, let's move on here. Next one today comes to us from, where are we? Alexander Helmer writes, damn you, John, Christmas is coming early for you. It certainly is, my friends. It certainly is. It's Rusev Day, and it's Star Wars. I was going to say it's Star Wars Infinity War Day, which is just like, you know, a wet dream come true for a lot of film fans. But no, it is Avengers Infinity Day. Very excited for it. And look, by the way, a lot of you guys have been asking me, when is the embargoes lifted? Here's the deal. Social media embargo is lifted as soon as the movie's done. So I'm going to be able to tweet out my reactions to Avengers Infinity War tonight. All right? So that can happen tonight. The actual review, the embargo's up tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to probably come home tonight, record my review. I'm going to have Jonathan edit the review for me because I got to then get packed because I leave tomorrow at noon for CinemaCon going on in Vegas. And then I believe it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon that the review embargo lifts. So the review will be up tomorrow afternoon for those of you who are wondering. All right. Alexander Helmer writes, favorite actor who often plays villains. I love Waltz. Well, yeah, Christoph Waltz is great. There's a bunch of character actors whose names you would never know, but you always see them pop up in these movies and you recognize them instantly. So there's a whole bunch of them. One of my favorite bad guys, whether he was a legit, you know who was a great bad guy in movies? Jonathan Lithgow. John Lithgow was a awesome villain. When he played villains a few times, and when he did, it's like, wait a minute, that's Mr. Henderson from the Hendersons. It's crazy, but when he threw a switch and played a villain, he was an amazing villain. Let's see, obviously Hans Gruber, but I mean, there's a bunch of guys, but a lot of them are often character actors who do that. But yes, obviously Christoph Waltz is a great villain when he plays a villain. You know, Green Hornet notwithstanding. Let's see, Luke1234 writes, can we see that picture of Anne again as Jasmine? Well, you know what? Just go follow her on social media. Just follow it. Search for Anne Campea on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. And she puts up most of her cosplay stuff up on those social media channels. So make sure you're following Anne. She's better at social media than me. Let's see. John During writes, if Han knew that Jabba would be looking for him, then why did he stay on Tatooine in A New Hope? For a million different reasons that we have. First, what was he doing there? Did he finish a delivery? You know, was he in between things? Was he there to do a pickup? I mean, there's a million different reasons. And I mean, just because Jabba's on the same planet, I mean, there could be somebody looking for you just because you're on Earth. I mean, the planet's a big place. Tatooine's a big place. So there's a million different reasons. And with somebody like Han, who, you know, did the types of things that he did for a living, and Tatooine Mos Eisley being a hive of scum and villainy, I mean, that's kind of a place you'd probably get a lot of his jobs. So, yeah, I've never, out of some of the things that raise your eyebrows in Star Wars, that is not one of them for me personally. To me, that's not an issue. All right, let's go on to the next one. And the next one today comes to us from ZOMG Ruler, who writes, have you seen the show Everything Sucks on Netflix? I have not. I saw the previews for it. I'll be honest with you, the previews didn't do anything for me. And when you're somebody who watches as limited amount of television as I watch, because I work all day and then I like to see movies at night, but I don't have time for a ton of TV. If the previews don't get me, then it's got little chance. I mean, considering there are so many shows out there that the previews do really get me interested, and yet I still never get a chance to get around to watching them. It's crazy. Like Halt and Catch Fire, right? A bunch of you guys, I started watching it because a bunch of you guys tell me, watch Halt and Catch Fire, watch Halt and Catch Fire. I started watching it and I'm loving it, but I got stuck on like episode 7 and I just haven't had time. It's been like 3.5 weeks since I've watched an episode of Halt and Catch Fire because I just haven't had time to get around and watch it. So since the trailers for it never got me, it just hasn't. Let me know. Look, jump on the Stardust app. Tag me if you got a recommendation to make and let me know if you recommend it and tell me why you recommend it. All right. Next one comes to us from Dimsum05 who writes, dude, I really love James Cameron. Who doesn't? Amazing filmmaker. But this type of mentality really grinds my gears. I think your response was way too tepid. Man, enjoy tonight's tonight GC. That's Giovanni Campea for those of you who don't know. I don't know that my response was look, let's be clear here. I think as a film fan, what James Cameron said, and for those of you who missed it, I put up a video on this yesterday, is that James Cameron put out comments saying, I hope people get Avengers fatigue. Because come on, guys, how many more of these movies can we make? While he himself is in the process of making 4 Avatar sequels, he's sitting there complaining, oh, haven't we had enough of these movies? Like, do something different and original. While you are about to make 5 Avatar films in a row. You did one in 2009, now you're doing 4 sequels, 5 Avatar films in a row. A little bit hypocritical. And I think they're worth being kind of upset about. Like, James, that's stupid. What you said is stupid. However, I think some people are overreacting a little bit. I mean, yeah, he said he hopes people get Avengers fatigue. Okay. Is that worth burning the house down over? I mean, that comment? I mean, it's a dumb comment. It's stupid. And it should be called a dumb comment. And it should be called a little bit hypocritical. Because it is a little bit hypocritical, considering that he himself is in the process of making 4 Avatar sequels in a row. So yeah, it's a little bit hypocritical, and it's a ridiculous statement, and it should be called out as such. Yes. But, I mean, there are some people who want to burn down villages over this. I mean, I read some responses to people online like, James Cameron is a this and is a that, and he should never be allowed to interact with human beings again. He should be locked away and burned and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, whoa. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. I mean, yeah, he said something stupid. We all called him out for it. It's a little bit hypocritical, and we called him out for that too. And it's where, as film fans, yeah, let's get a little bit upset. Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time, pump the hater brakes, Thanos. It was just him saying, I hope people get fatigue of him. He didn't say, burn hungry children. He didn't say, anybody who's poor should be put to death. It's not like he said anything like that. And I think some people are kind of reacting as if he just said the most, hateful thing in the world. He said he hopes people get Avengers fatigue because he wants other types of sci-fi. Stupid thing to say, bit hypocritical, and we call him out for it. But, I mean, I don't know if my response was, if anything, maybe my response was maybe even a little bit too strong. Maybe, but you know me, movies matter to me, so I get worked up over movies. Maybe sometimes more worked up than I should. Granted, I give you that. That's one of my character flaws. But there's some people out there, and I know you're not saying this, Dimsum. I know you're not saying burn down his village, kill his wife and children. I know you're not saying that. But I mean, it's just some reactions have been like a little bit over the top to something he said about a movie. I mean, so was it dumb? Yes. Was it a little bit hypocritical? Yes. Should we call him out for such? Yes. However, let's also keep it in context about how truly egregious his statements were. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. Thanks for bringing that up, man. All right. Hector Jetter writes, it'll be awesome if you did a meet and greet when you come to Vegas. You said you were going to the AMC Prime, so it'll be perfect. Plus, there's a bar inside. I doubt I'm your only Vegas fan. I would love to do a meet and greet in Vegas. However, it won't be this trip. I am going for CinemaCon. So between being at all the events for CinemaCon and all the videos I'm going to shoot and upload for you guys to see so I can report on everything going on at CinemaCon, I'm just not going to have time. And my plans were to go to that AMC Prime to watch Infinity War, but there were just no tickets left. Not just for the Prime, but for any of the theaters that are there. There were just no tickets left for the Thursday night. And I'm leaving to come back on Friday at 6 a.m. Like Friday morning, I'm going to be waking up in Vegas and yet still doing open mic at 8:30 in the morning here on Friday. I'm going to wake up in Vegas and be back here in time on Friday to do open mic. So I'm really not going to have any time. So I will endeavor this year, because I go to Vegas quite a bit, I will endeavor this year to do a meet and greet in Las Vegas. And we'll set something up. Unfortunately, just this week's trip is just way too packed. I just won't have the time for it. So what's really sucks is that tonight, like CinemaCon starts today, and tonight is the Sony Pictures presentation. An hour-and-a-half long Sony Pictures presentation, and you know they're going to show a bunch of Venom. You know they're going to show a bunch of Venom, and I'm going to miss it. Now, that's a choice I made because I either had that, but then the invitation for the Infinity War premiere came along. Obviously, I'm going to go to the Avengers Infinity War premiere, but it does suck that I'm going to miss the Sony presentation. But I'm going to be there for the Fox presentation. I'm going to be there for the Paramount presentation. I'm going to be there for the Lionsgate presentation. I'm going to be there for the Disney presentation. Like all the other studios, I'm going to be there for their big presentations, showing us clips and previews of all their upcoming movies this year, and I'm going to be able to report on all of them to you guys. But again, won't have any time, unfortunately, for a fan meet and greet this year, or for this particular trip. All right, next one comes to us from Sam Fisher, who writes, everyone thinks that Player X in Molly's Game is Tobey Maguire. There's a bunch of people who think that. I think it's Michael Cera secretly playing himself. Interesting theory. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, in the movie Molly's Game, which is based on a true story. And by the way, Molly's Game might be my second favorite movie of last year. It's certainly in my top 5, without doubt. I love that movie. I thought it was brilliant. Anyway, there is a person in the movie that the movie only refers to as Player X because they didn't want to reveal who that person was in real life. We know it's a celebrity poker player. And most people, for good reasons, there's good, solid, anecdotal evidence to suggest that Player X in Molly's Game is Tobey Maguire. But we can't say for certain that it is. So there's no point in saying it is for certain. But hey, we can speculate that maybe it's him. Tobey Maguire is probably the best celebrity poker player in the world. He's known around Los Angeles as an absolute shark. Like around Los Angeles, he's known he is a lethal poker player. But at any rate. So, but that's an interest. So Michael Cera in the movie Molly's Game plays Player X. Sam has a very interesting theory. What if it's really actually Michael Cera who is Player X and he's just hiding in plain sight? Huh? Interesting theory. Interesting theory. Hector Jenner writes, Gio, got the God of War PS4 bundle. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. My mouth was dropped the moment the game started. The hype is real. Best graphics I've seen to date. Truly amazing. Yeah, I've been watching some reviews online of the new God of War. And the cinematics is just beautiful. I mean, the world looks incredible. Now, I can't speak to the gameplay. I don't know how good the gameplay is. And ultimately, that's what really matters for a game is the gameplay. But after CinemaCon, I think I'm going to pick up the game. I don't have to buy a PS4, which is great because Ray told me he would lend me his. So there's that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it and trying it. Thanks for the recommendation. Zombatron5678 says, my only IMAX theater has always shown their movies in 3D, but for the first time ever, they're doing Avengers in 2D. It's a new experience for me. That is awesome. And here's another reason why it's so awesome. Because we just got an email the other day from a film fan who was like, my local movie theater isn't giving me any 2D choices. Every single screening on opening night is all 3D. Every single screen that the movie's playing on, it's only in 3D. They're not giving us a choice, which is some first-rate, freshly cut bullshit. That is ridiculous that that theater is doing that. And I'm really ashamed of the fact that I believe it's one of my home country's theater chains, Cineplex, that I have a lot of respect for. I love Cineplex. But the fact that one of their theaters would do this to their customers, see, screw you, customer. You don't want to see it in 3D? Tough. Tough. You have to watch it. You have to pay the premium price, and you have to watch it in the format you don't want to watch it in. We're not even going to give you the option. And there's nothing you can do about it because we're the only game in town. I'm really disappointed that this theater chain in Canada that I hold very dear to my heart would do something like that. And believe me, if I actually had a contact at Cineplex, I would be on the phone with them right now saying, what kind of BS is this you guys are pulling? And I'm sure it's not every Cineplex theater, but in this one person's one, it's so I'm really thrilled for you that you've got a theater that's actually doing the opposite. That normally it shows 3D, but for Avengers, they're going to show it in 2D. That's awesome. The way all movies should be shown. Anyway, Luke1234 writes, do you have any crazy World of Warcraft stories like pet bombs or summoning portals next to cliffs? Thanks, Leroy Jenkins. That is one of the greatest all-time YouTube videos, by the way. Like, if you're going to have a discussion about the all-time great YouTube videos, the Leroy Jenkins classic World of Warcraft video is still, to this day, one of the greatest videos of all time. The reality for me, though, is that I never played in groups. Like, I never played in a party. I never joined a guild. I just liked playing World of Warcraft on my own. And as such, I don't have a lot of crazy stories. I mean, there's crazy stories about the extent of which I played World of Warcraft, how long I would play World of Warcraft, the fact that I peed in a bottle once just so I wouldn't have to get up from my computer because I didn't want to stop grinding this one area I was on. Anyway, crazy stories that way, but crazy in-game stories? I gotta admit, I probably don't have any. And you know what? I think I made the decision here that I am going to reload World of Warcraft and I'm going to start playing World of Warcraft again. I think I'm going to start playing World of Warcraft. Here's the thing. My wife sat down with me the other day and had, she was worried about me. And she said, like, you literally right now have no hobbies. I used to go play poker maybe twice a week. I haven't done that in a year. Right now, really, the only time I play poker is when I go to Vegas. I started playing a little bit of Fortnite, but I haven't played that in like weeks now. I don't have any hobby. I just work all the time. That's all I do is I work. Yeah, I'll go downstairs and watch TV, but even then I'm doing that for work. I'll go to the movies, but even then I'm doing that for work. And Anne sat down she said to me the other day, look, I'm getting a little bit worried just because, you know, you're not doing anything for fun. You're not doing anything for fun anymore. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to change that. I'm going to mix that up. And one of the things, it's not just this one thing, but one of the things I'm going to start doing, I think I've decided, is I'm going to re-download World of Warcraft. And I think I'm going to jump into World of Warcraft again. And just like make sure at least a half hour a day. At least a half hour a day. I'm going to set some time aside, sit back, relax, play a little World of Warcraft. So I think that's one of the things. I'm going to do some other things as well, but I think since you brought up World of Warcraft, I thought I'd mention that. All right, Leroy Jenkins. By the way, if you guys haven't seen that video, look it up. It's hilarious. Sam Fisher writes, I got Action Comics number 1000 last week. Some of the stories legitimately made me want to be a better person. Happy belated 80th birthday, Superman. You know what? I did not pick that one up. I need to pick that one up still. But yeah, it is crazy. Superman's 80th birthday. Since that good Canadian kid created Superman. And, you know, it's funny that it coincides. I've been watching Krypton. I'm digging Krypton. Like, not as much as, like, say, Black Lightning, but I am legitimately getting interested more and more in Krypton. They are throwing some really great plot twists in there, and I'm digging it. I'm actually quite digging it, so I'm liking it quite a bit. But again, not up to the same level that I like Black Lightning or some other shows, but I'm so far I'm on board. So far I'm on board with Krypton. Okay, Anthony Cullen writes, "Oh, I'm John, and I get to see Infinity War early. Have fun. Make sure you wear life vests so when the theater overflows with Schnepp Sweat, you'll be safe." I mean, look, it is going to be crazy there tonight. I am ridiculously excited. I cannot wait to see everybody, and it's going to be a good time, and I cannot wait to share the experience with all of you guys. Let's see. Murray for Us writes, "James Cameron probably is just jealous his movies are taking forever to be released, so he's being a bitch about it. What a crybaby." No, I don't think he's just jealous. He's James Cameron. He has nothing to be jealous about. His 2 movies have been the 2 top, not just 1. He's got 2. The 2 highest grossing films of all time are James Cameron films. And they've been that way for a long time. He's done Aliens. He's done Terminator. He's done my favorite action film of all time, True Lies. He has nothing to be jealous about of anybody. I just think he needs to learn to shut his mouth. He just needs to learn to shut his mouth. Look, it's not bad if in his head he thinks that. That's not a bad thing if in his head he thinks those things. But being in the position that he's in, as somebody who's making 4 Avatar sequels in a row and all that kind of stuff, being somebody who's in this industry, being positioned as he is, he's got to understand the appearance of impropriety for saying words like that. He just needs to learn to shut up. And that's why on my thumbnail for my video, my thumbnail is just a picture of James Cameron. I just put the word "shut up." Like, just shh, shut up, shut up. You know that scene from Step Brothers? Shut up, shh, you're just making yourself look stupid. Shh, shut up, just shut up. That's what I feel like saying to James Cameron. Just shut up. You're James Cameron. You're James Cameron. Shh. You don't need to say anything. Just shut up. That's what I feel like saying to him. As a big James Cameron fan, I just want to say to him, please shut up. Please, James, shut up. Anyway. ZOMG Ruler writes, "Lots of folks can afford to rewatch Disney films." I don't know what that means. Oh, then he goes up and says, "Like, what I mean is Black Panther and Infinity War repeat viewings." Oh yeah, I mean, look, if you can afford, here's the thing. As much as we talk about how expensive going to the movies is, and it is too expensive. It's too expensive. But the average movie ticket cost in America is about $10. That is less than going to, going to Applebee's. If you go to Applebee's, you just spent a lot more than you would have going to the movies. Can you afford, are there some people who can't afford to go to more than 1 movie a month? I'm sure there are. I think most people in America can. It's just what you choose to spend your money on, right? And if you really want to see Black Panther twice, you can see it twice. If you want to see Black Panther and Infinity War on successive days, you can do that. If you want to see Infinity War 3 times, you can go see it 3 times. Just don't go to the bar one night. You know, I see people go to the bar, they drop like $120 on a bar tab. So yeah, you could have gone to 12 movies. So yeah, you can. There are people who can. It's just a matter of choices and priorities and how much do you budget for yourself for that. There are some people who can't, there's some people who can, and then it's all about a matter of choices. Let's see. Joseph Farella writes, "Hey John, I'm worried about Infinity War spoilers in reviews. Variety gave away plot details for Star Wars The Last Jedi, but I still want to read reviews. Should we avoid reviews?" Well, first of all, Variety, I don't know what's wrong with Variety. They need to fire that film. You know, it's not firing the film critic. Their editor, this also, at Variety, when you're a big publication like Variety, everything has to go through an editor as well. So I don't know what Variety is thinking, because they didn't just do it for The Last Jedi. They have done it for other things where they drop major spoilers in their reviews. And like, for instance, the Yoda scene, they revealed that in the review. What was clearly meant in the movie to be a big surprise, Variety gave it away in the review. I don't know what the hell is wrong with those people. Like, come on, they're a great, respected, wonderful publication. So why they were doing something as stupid ass as that, I have no idea. Look, I think, as long as you have your trusted set of film critics, right? Do not read Variety's review. If you want to stay spoiler-free, do not read anything that comes out of Variety. as far as their reviews go. Because I feel almost guaranteed they're going to drop and spoil a lot of stuff. But I think if you've got a trusted group of critics, 7 or 8 critics that you kind of trust and you go to, you should be fine. You should be fine. So I wouldn't worry about it. Like, my review is not going to have any spoilers, depending on what your definition of spoiler is. Okay, so there's this fight near the middle of the movie where there's a fight that happens near the middle of the movie. Some people might go, John, you just spoiled it. I didn't want to know if there was a fight in the middle of the movie. Like, there are some people, and that's the hard thing about spoilers, is that everybody has a different definition of what a spoiler is. So, I don't know, I guess to some people's definitions, I'll say, okay, so there's a scene in the movie where Vision and Black Widow are talking. I didn't want to know Vision and Black Widow talked. Well, then what do you want? What are you watching any review? What do you want me to say? I saw the movie. It was good. Thank you for watching my review. Like, is that like you got to talk about the movie a little bit. So it all depends, and that's the tricky thing about spoilers, man, is that everybody has a different definition of what a spoiler is. Some, it's like, it's the Yoda thing. It was designed to be a big surprise in the movie, and Variety gave it away. To some people, that's the line of what a spoiler is. Like for somebody like me, that's the line of what a spoiler is. You say to somebody in the movie that there's this secondary fight in Civil War where Iron Man and Captain America are fighting. I mean, it's kind of even revealed in the trailer, but you even just say that, and some people say that's a spoiler. If you're the type of person that you think any information about a movie, any information is a spoiler, then you shouldn't read any movie reviews ever. I'm not saying that to trash on you. I'm just saying if that is your line for a spoiler, that any information is a spoiler, then honestly, for your own experience as a film fan, you probably should never read movie reviews before you see a movie. If you're like me, where it's like things that are designed in film to be a surprise and a shock and a twist to the story, that's where the line of a spoiler is, then I think you're pretty much safe to read reviews and all that kind of stuff. I think you'll be fine. I really do. I think you'll be fine. For most people, you should be fine. But avoid variety. Avoid variety. Grant Hernandez writes, $10 to switch places with you tonight. Put 4 more zeros. You know what? 3 zeros. Just add 3 zeros to that number. Adding 2 zeros is not enough. $1,000 I would not trade places with you. $10,000? I'll watch Infinity War on Thursday. So yes, if you want, you make it $10,000. You got it. You can go in my place tonight. Degoto1 writes, what's your favorite Robert Zemeckis film? You know what? I am actually a big fan of his Beowulf. Movie. So hold on a second. Let me just bring up, just so I can make sure I'm not, and I'm a big fan of Castaway too. I mean, a lot of people will instantly go to Back to the Future, and obviously Back to the Future is iconic and great and wonderful. But I mean, oh my God, like Robert Zemeckis is like just a powerhouse. Like whether it's Forrest Gump, which by the way won Best Picture. I wasn't a big fan of Flight with Denzel Washington. There were some people who loved it. I thought it was actually I thought it was one of Zemeckis' worst films. His Beowulf film, I thought looked like it was going to be terrible, that animated one, and I thought that was great. I love Castaway. Not a big fan of What Lies Beneath. Contact is great. Forrest Gump is great. Back to the Future is great. Romancing the Stone. I forgot he did Romancing the Stone, to be honest with you. I love Romancing the Stone with Michael Douglas. Love that movie. Oh my God. Gosh, you know what? It might be Contact. I'd have to think about that. It might actually be Contact. But I mean, clearly a lot of people are going to say Back to the Future for very good reason. Let's see. Murray for Us writes, you were right. Last week's Arrow was awesome. Finally felt original again. Big step in the right direction. Yeah, I mean, like, color me shocked. You guys know I have been very critical of where Arrow has been as a show the last number of years. But they have been doing things in recent weeks, admitting on camera, what they did with the Laurel character was a big mistake. That's huge. And normally, a studio and creative people would never admit a mistake. And the fact that they didn't just admit a mistake to some reporter, they got on camera in their show and basically acknowledged what we did with the Laurel character back in season 3 was a big mistake. And they basically did that in the show. I'm really impressed with them for that. I am really impressed. That takes huge stones to do that. And they did it. And was really impressed. And then they've kind of also been showing in the recent weeks that they are understanding they need to get back to the essentials of what made this show so good in the first couple of seasons. And then on top of that, we got this new episode, which is the single best episode of not just Arrow, but Arrowverse in the last 3 years. More than any other show in that Burn in Hell Supergirl show, then Arrow, then Flash, then Legends of Tomorrow, or Black Lightning. This past week's episode of Arrow was the single best episode in all of the Arrowverse, probably in the last 3 years. All because they've been laying the groundwork for it too. So for the first time in years, I am feeling hopeful about the show Arrow again. I really am. I'm starting to feel some enthusiasm and hopeful for this show again. Because they've always had a great star, right? Like you got Stephen Amell there, who I think does a remarkable job playing the character. They just need to build a better show around him. And I feel like they've gotten the point. They've gotten the message. And I feel like they're starting to head back in that direction. And if they are, and the last few weeks are any indication, I'm very excited. The next thing they have to do is end this ridiculous Civil War storyline they've got going on, because it's terrible. But once they get that out of the way, they're positioned for some good success. And for the first time in a long time, I'm excited to see where this show goes. Okay, Degato1 writes, just watched Good Time last night with Robert Pattinson. And Robert Pattinson is such a great actor. Hope Tarantino casts him as Charles Manson. Well, maybe not. I don't know about that. But here's the thing. People need to get over. There are still people out there who will not get over the Twilight stigma with Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson is great. He has turned into not a good, not a serviceable, not a pretty solid. Robert Pattinson has turned into a great actor. He's wonderful. So get over the whole Twilight thing. Just get past that, okay? Too many people have been hung up on the whole Twilight thing with Robert Pattinson for too long. Time to get over that, because he is legit. And that's just one really good example of it. All right, Murray for Us writes, thoughts on the character DeVoe in Flash? Oh, I've been very open about that. I don't think it's a good character at all. I have not been interested. One of my big problems with this season of Flash is that such an unremarkable villain that had a lot of potential. But they've been so inconsistent with this character. And and it's too bad, because I think the actor who plays the true DeVoe character is really good. But I'm over it. I really am. I think the DeVoe has been a swing and a miss, to be honest with you. Savitar was better. And I wasn't big on Savitar, but I thought Savitar was definitely Zoom was a great villain. Reverse Flash was a great villain for them. DeVoe marks the first non-speedster arch villain, which I'm glad they went non-speedster finally for an arch villain, but he hasn't worked for me, at any rate. Hasn't worked for me. All right, let's see. Big jump. There it is. Hold on a second. Give me a second to find out where we're at. Oh, so many questions came in. La, 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 la. How far? Okay, here we go. HV39000 writes, how about the NHL playoffs? Been some pretty exciting games so far. Now that my Minnesota Wild are eliminated, go Leafs go. Hey, look, I'm glad the Leafs are still alive. And as much as I bleed blue and white, I'm still predicting Leafs lose in 7. Boston's just too good for them. Toronto's on their way, though. The Maple Leafs are on their way. So I said before the playoffs started, you know what? They're probably going to get eliminated first round, especially when I found out that the first round matchup was going to be against Boston. They're not good enough yet to get by that, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful about the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm excited. I'm excited about next year. I fully expect them to lose this series. I have from before Game 1 started, and that's fine because they're heading in the right direction. I'm excited. But thanks for the vote of support, HV3. Toonie2 writes, John, you get a Star Wars story thing wrong. It's not a title. Watch Rogue One, just Rogue One on the screen, without a Star Wars story. A Star Wars story is just for marketing and posters. No, it's not. Sorry, the official title. Look, I'll open it up right now. The official title, the title of Rogue One is, drumroll please, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. That is the official title. On the title screen, when you're sitting in the theater itself and the title comes up, it just says Rogue One. That's fine. But the title, the official title, it's not just for posters, it's not just for marketing. The official title of Rogue One is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. The official title of Solo is Solo, a Star Wars story. That is the title. That's it. We can say whatever we want around that, but it is a fact. This isn't subjective, this is a fact. The fact is, the name of the movie is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. That's a fact. It's not subjective. It's not up for interpretation. It's not up for debate. That is an objective fact. And I wish you were right. I wish it was just called Rogue One, or Star Wars Rogue One, or Rogue One Star Wars Anthology, which it would all be better. But it's not. It's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It's Solo, a Star Wars story, which is terrible. But hey, whatever. It's just a title. It is what it is. But unfortunately, Toonie, as much as I totally want to be on your side with this, I totally do, this isn't up for debate. It's a fact. The fact is the official name of the movies are Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and Solo, a Star Wars story. It's not just for marketing and posters. That is the official title of the movies. So I wish you were right, though, man. I want to be on your side on this so bad. James Welsh writes, did you see the Crazy Rich Asians trailer? I did. I'm very much looking forward to that movie. I was hooked the moment I found out even that movie was coming. I never read the book, but just the title of the movie, and then I read the premise of it. And of course, I'm a little bit biased. I'm married into an Asian family, so I've got a little bit of bias there as well. But I mean, I think the movie sounds and looks really fun, and I'm looking forward to it. A little questionable on the director, but the director's done some decent stuff too, so I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how that goes. All right. James Welsh writes, sorry, I already did that one. ToonieTube follows up, writes, disagree with you about having new Star Wars films with popular characters. I want more movies with Solo, Jabba, Vader, Kenobi, etc. I'm a fan of the characters. I like the MCU not because I love New York. I'm not with you on your little... I think your analogy there is misplaced at the end. However, the first part of your message there it's a point well taken. Look, there are people... All film is subjective. There are people who do want, like yourself, Toonie, there are people who want to see more Kenobi, more Yoda, more Vader, more of the characters that we've already met and know. There are people out there who do. You are not alone. By any stretch of the imagination, you're not alone. However, I am not one of them. That doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. Not at all. I'm just saying I am not one of them. To me, there is something about leaving parts. You don't have to explore every little thing about every little character. The worst mistake Star Wars ever did was deciding you had to show us Vader's origins. That was the worst mistake they ever made. We didn't need to see Anakin Skywalker as a kid. And to me, it is about expanding this universe. I don't need to know what Yoda had for lunch 20 years ago. I don't need to know that. I've got my Yoda. I've got my fill of Yoda. I love Yoda. Now let's tell some other stories. You know, and if you want to make episode 9 and have Yoda in episode 9, stories moving forward, great. I am just, one of the big things about me is that I'm done. I'm so tired of going backwards to tell stories. There are exceptions. I'm not saying there's not exceptions. There are, sure, there are. But just in general, the idea of why do we gotta go backwards to tell stories? Move forward. Tell new stories. And if you want to use Yoda in a new story, use Yoda. Have the adventures of Ghost Yoda. You know, do that if you want. I'm for that as long as it's a story moving forward. The reason I don't like the idea of a young Vader, young this, young that, whatever, are two big primary reasons. Number one, it continues to shrink the Star Wars universe. Number two, I'm tired of telling stories backwards. I want to move forward with stories and storytelling. That's where I want to go. I want to go forward. And of course, I'm looking forward to Solo, and I'll look forward to whatever Star Wars movie they put out. But really, what I as a fan want is I want to move forward in the storytelling, not backwards. And I want to expand the Star Wars universe, not contract it and shrink it, which is all they seem to be doing lately. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't want those movies. Not at all. Absolutely. All film is subjective. If that's what you're looking forward to, then that's what you're looking forward to, and that's aces. But I feel differently, and that's why I feel differently, because it shrinks the universe and it continues to move backwards instead of expanding the universe and moving forward. That's just my thoughts on it. But again, Toonie, don't feel isolated. You are not alone. There are a lot of other people who would love to see those younger versions of those stories. You are not alone in that. Let's see. Manuel Fernandez writes, if a movie can be so bad it's good, can it also be so good it's bad? No, you're I understand you're half joking there, but there is a misconception out there about a movie that gets so bad it becomes good. No, that's a term we use, so bad it's good, but it's not really. Like, for instance, let's take the movie Vanilla Ice. It's not so bad that it's good. It's bad, but it's bad in such a way that it becomes completely, you have no control but to watch it. Like, once you start watching it, you can't stop watching it. And it's not because it's so bad it's good. If that was the case, I would have loved the last Transformers movie. The Last Night, I think is what it's called. Transformers The Last Night. I would have loved it because it is so bad. One of the worst theatrical experiences I've ever had. So it's not, there's a misconception there that once a movie gets so terrible, it actually becomes fun. No. That's actually not the case. It's just that you get some movies that are really terrible, but they're terrible in such a way that it becomes hilarious to watch. Like Transformers is beyond awful. There's no words to describe just how wretched that movie is, the latest Transformers movie. But it doesn't become enjoyable because it's that bad. No, it's just painful. Whereas like A Cool as Ice starring Vanilla Ice, yeah, it's a terrible movie. For sure, it's a terrible movie. But it is so thoroughly entertaining to watch because there's certain elements about it that make it, in all of its terribleness, completely fun to watch. But it's not a matter of crossing that line of being so bad it becomes good. It's just a terminology that we use sometimes, but it's not literal. Let's see. James Welsh writes, not much Oliver in last week's episode. No, you know, it's kind of funny because I remember Anne came home the day I watched that episode of Arrow. Anne came home, and like the first thing I said was like, this week's episode of Arrow was probably the best episode of Arrow they've had in years. And oddly enough, it had hardly any Arrow in it. There was basically like, Stephen Amell had like a single 2-minute scene in the show. Now, it wasn't great because Oliver wasn't in it. Not at all. Like I said, the previous week's episodes have set it all up in such a way. It was all about what they did with the episode. But you're right. It is kind of funny that the fact that it was so great and yet didn't have the main character in it. But honestly, that had nothing to do with it. It's just that they told a great story. Told a great story. With, frankly, a mediocre villain. But they took this, frankly, not bad, but mediocre villain. Ho-hum, another mobster kind of guy. Mediocre villain. But they told a great story around him and gave depth to him with this episode, and that's what made the episode good. It wasn't the presence or absence of the Arrow character, it's the fact that the show took a mediocre character and decided to pour a rich narrative and character depth into him, and that's what made it amazing. And it gives me a lot of hope. It gave me a lot of hope moving forward. All right, we got about 10 minutes left here. Trevor Riches writes, favorite musical, Moulin Rouge. If you're talking about movie musicals, Moulin Rouge is my favorite. It's in my top 20 favorite. It doesn't crack my top 10, but it's in my top 20 favorite films of all time. Moulin Rouge with Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman, ridiculously good. And it's like sensory overload too, just the amount of visuals and color and movement and the music and all that kind of stuff. It's thoroughly enjoyable. I love Moulin Rouge. It's my favorite one. Mike Lynch writes, if you know who John Carroll Lynch is, just wondering what's your favorite role of his? Oh gosh, hold on a second. I know he was in The Founder. That was the most recent one I saw him in. Here he is. Okay, so. I forgot he was in Hot Pursuit. I forgot all about that. A lot of people love him in American Horror Story, but I haven't seen American Horror Story, so I can't even begin to talk to that. I liked him very much in The Founder, but then again, I liked everybody in The Founder. Small role in Ted 2. I'd have to think about it. He's done a lot of television stuff. Again, the only one that really bumped into my head was The Founder. That's because I just saw him recently in that. So that's the only reason that one stuck in with me. Oh, I forgot he was in Big Love. He's just a couple episodes. Obviously, he was pretty good in Zodiac. Not a huge role, though. Mozart and the Whale, stuff like that. Yeah, look, he's just one of these really solid character actors that... And there's a bunch of these in Hollywood. Really great character actors who everybody will recognize their face and nobody will know their name. And again, the only reason that he came to me was just because I rewatched The Founder recently. That's the only reason I even remembered. Yeah, great character actor who's just in a lot of stuff, and you can always count on putting him in just about anything you're producing. Let's see. Manuel Fernandez writes, which you prefer, whether in film or television, watching a good guy turn bad or a bad guy turn good? There's neither. I have no preference for either. Each one is an individual thing. It all depends on the story and context and what is involved with the bad guy turning good, or the story and the context and the narrative in the good guy turning bad. One is not inherently better or favorable over the other. They were completely equals and opposites. And as such, it all depends on the story or the movie. So honestly, I have no preference. I have no preference on that. It really all depends on the individual story. One is not inherently has an advantage over the other to me. There are great stories where lost, misunderstood, made mistakes villains have redemptions, and there are great things where heroes have falls. And they're equal and opposite. Like I said, that's the thing to me. Mike Lynch writes, also, that Infinity Gauntlet is dope, is it not? My wife is pretty awesome for getting me this. This thing is so badass. Number one. Okay, anyway, yes, I'm so excited for that. You know I'm going to be a grown-ass man. I'm going to be playing with this thing all day. Let's see. Betty Bros writes, John, you suck. Just kidding. Thanks for the show. Watch you at work. I'm always amazed, Betty, seriously, about how many people write to me saying they watch at work. I mean, I suppose I shouldn't be all that surprised. I mean, I do this particular show at 8:30 in the morning Pacific time, so that's 9:30. That's 12:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast. So that, I mean, everywhere in the country, people are at work. So if you're watching, you're probably either at school or at work, or getting ready for one of the two. So I guess I shouldn't be all that surprised by it. Okay, next one comes to us from Raccoos, who writes, John, didn't know if this was answered in yesterday's video, but the Transformers franchise sucks, we all know. But Steve Jablonsky does an amazing score. What are some of your personal favorite original soundtracks in bad movies? That's not something I can answer off the top of my head. I mean, first of all, and there's a difference between soundtrack and score, because there's two different things. like, say, for instance, like a lot of people think Kendrick Lamar did the soundtrack, did the score. They think he did the score for Black Panther. He did not. He did some of the musical soundtrack, but the score of the film, which I think is even better than the soundtrack, was done by this other dude, right? So score and soundtrack are quite often different things, and how you set up the difference between the two is a little bit tricky. One of the things to me is that if we're talking soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks to a bad movie, and it's one of those movies that is bad, but I love it, is Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat. It's a bad movie, but I love that movie. And the soundtrack in Mortal Kombat is ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous. And you know, going to Transformers, I love the Transformers scores. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. And actually, when I go to Universal Hollywood, because it's literally, Universal Hollywood theme park is literally a 10-minute drive up the road from where Ann and I live. So Ann and I go there quite a bit. And I just get kind of pumped when we get close to the Transformers 3D ride experience. They've got the music playing outside. Ba, 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 ba. And it's like, every time I hear the music, I get chills. It is really great, inspiring music for sure. Kalis Menon writes, I have a dilemma. Uh-oh. Next week for me is finals week, and I may need to use a computer and Wi-Fi. How do I avoid Infinity War spoilers for a week? Ooh, that is a conundrum. Look, it is becoming perilous for movies like Last Jedi, for movies like Avengers Infinity War, for movies like, say, the newest Fantastic Beasts, like these big event films. It's becoming very, very difficult to avoid these types of things. And even from well-meaning people. Like, I remember one of the biggest spoilers to me ever that I had ruined on social media was for Sons of Anarchy. I was not able to watch Sons of Anarchy live this one night. And one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character on the show, got killed. And just and it was from a well-meaning person on Twitter. That's a friend of mine. Just well-meaning. Can't believe that so-and-so died tonight. What? Like, because they're just thinking, oh, we all watched this tonight. So, blah, blah. So even though it was well-meaning, it was a major spoiler. I found out my favorite character died on that show from a tweet. That hurt. And it was from a well-meaning person. So it's becoming more and more perilous because you get a bunch of non-well-meaning people, like tons of people who just are so shallow and so pathetic and so sad. They just want to make it their mission to try to spread spoilers as fast and as much as they can. So there's that. But then you even get the well-meaning people. You get the well-meaning people who just out of excitement and enthusiasm, like spill something out. And it's tough. It's tough. The best thing I can suggest is the worst culprit for this stuff is Twitter. Not that it's Twitter's fault, but that's where most of this stuff comes out. I would just make sure you have Twitter deactivated. Just, if you have it bookmarked, remove your bookmark so you don't accidentally open the page. If you've got it, if you read Twitter on the app on your phone, delete the app on your phone, reload it later. The best thing I can suggest is, and this will not 100% guarantee you, this will not 100% insulate you, but the best thing I can suggest is just stay away from Twitter. If you stay away from Twitter, I think you increase your chances like 50%. And here's the other thing. After Thursday, when Avengers opens on Thursday, I am going to, for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, except for the spoiler review that I'm going to do. And by the way, I had a bunch of you guys write to me and ask me to move the spoiler review from Saturday to Sunday. So I'm listening to you. I am now making it known right now, the spoiler review, the open 2-hour-long open discussion spoiler review about Avengers Infinity War will be Sunday. Okay? It's going to be Sunday now because a lot of you guys have asked me to move it to Sunday to give you an extra day to see the movie. So that's what we've done. Going to move it to Sunday. But until Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and until the spoiler review on Sunday, this sidebar where you can see the questions, I'm going to actually have it hidden. Just in case even well-meaning people accidentally write in some, John, can you believe that so-and-so died in the first act of the movie? I mean, what are your thoughts? I thought they should have waited to kill that character off. Like, even if it was just innocent and they didn't mean anything by it, I'm going to keep the sidebar hidden for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday until we do the spoiler review. And then after that, on Monday, again, I'll put the sidebar back up. And I'll still be taking live questions. You just won't be able to see it. Like, I'll be reading the question, like the next one from Drew G. I'll be reading the question. Drew G writes, Mike stand loose or Felipe becoming self-aware. Ha! That's actually kind of funny. But you just won't see it there because I'm going to try to make sure I keep you guys insulated from the spoilers. So other than that, just avoid Twitter. That's probably the big thing. I've already now just read Drew's thing. Yeah, the other day the mic stand became loose and my microphone actually dipped down into the shot. It wasn't a big deal. Who cares? All right. And our final question today, and don't worry guys, all the questions I didn't get around to, I'm going to save those into a document and do in my next companion video, which would probably be tomorrow, I think is when you're going to get it. But all the questions you've sent in after D. Biernacki, all the questions come in after that, I'm going to take those questions, put them in the companion video document, and your questions will get answered on the next companion video. Probably be tomorrow morning. Okay, so the final question today comes to us. And John, greetings from Texas. Well, greetings. I love Austin, by the way. Been watching since Schnepp was Skyping in. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Just want to say you're awesome and keep bringing the filthy. Thank you so much, man. Enjoy the Avengers premiere tonight, you lucky duck. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. And yeah, man, it's tonight. It's Avengers. Now, I was about to say that the next time you guys see me, I will have watched Avengers Infinity War. But that's not true because we've got my editorial video coming up a little bit later today on the best directors without an Academy Award. And of course, this afternoon, we've got the John Campea show. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, covering all the movie news and stuff like that. Make sure you guys come back, set an alarm on your clock, whatever. Make sure you come back and join us for the John Campea show later this afternoon. And that will be the last time you see me before I see Avengers Infinity War. So, thanks a lot for joining me, guys, on this episode of the show. It's always an honor to have you guys here. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.